How are you doing today? Yesterday we started to talk about agriculture in Nigeria, its impact, its growth, its development, and some challenges that agribusiness owners and agripreneurs encounter, sometimes on the daily, sometimes during harvest period. One thing I do realize, and it's not anybody's fault, is just how we often do. Across conversations that happen at meal times, either in homes or in restaurants, we're quick to say thank you to the chef, or thank you to our host, or the waiters who serve us. Sometimes we go the extra mile of giving them a tip to show our gratitude and excitement and enthusiasm for what we have just consumed. These tenacious patriots who bring food from the farm to our tables, be with us. But for now, we'll take yoga. You want to stretch your body a bit? This is the right time to do so.
Raise your knee, walk towards your trunk. Namaste. Hello to everyone. I am Diptiranjan Mohanty, a trained yoga teacher from High Commission of India, Abuja, CGTNAC. Now we will perform Sasanka Asana. Sasanka means rabbit. So Sasanka Asana means rabbit posture. Those who are suffering from slip disc, severe back pain, hernia, sciatica, they should avoid this posture. Now breathe in, raise your both arms above your head. Both arms parallel to each other. Now breathe out, bend forward. Bend from your hip, bring your both palms, forehead on the floor. Compress your chest, abdomen above your thighs. Hold this posture up to 5 seconds. Now breathe in, raise your both arms, head, trunk up. Breathe out, bend forward. Bend from your hip. Bring your both hands, forehead, touch to the floor. Breathe in, raise your both arms, head, trunk, come up. Now we will do the variation. The variation, separate your both knees. Both hands, both palms on the floor. Now breathe out, bend forward, slide your both palms in front of your body. Touch your chin and chest on the floor. Look front. Hold this posture. Normal breathing. Breathe in, slowly come up. Once more, breathe out, come forward, slide your both palms, touch your chest and chin on the floor. Breathe in, raise your trunk up. Now, join your both knee, come to Vajrasana, both hands on your knees. Sasankasana, rabbit pose. This asana stretches and strengthens the back muscles and separates the individual vertebra from each other, releasing pressures on the discs. This posture encourages the discs to resume their correct position. It also regulates the functioning of the adrenal glands. It tones the pelvic muscles and the sciatica nerves and is beneficial for both the male and female reproductive organs. Thank you for joining the yoga session. See you next time. Namaste. Raise your knee, walk towards your trunk.
Thank you, Deep and friend. It's important to energize and strengthen, rejuvenate and revitalize your muscles and your vertebrae. And it says that this exercise encourages the individual vertebrae to stay in position so that they don't slip, or misinterpret their positions. Is quite interesting. But it's good for us to exercise regularly. You are watching Weekend Deal. Our first break beckons. When we come back, we'll set the tone with our background feature. Stay with us. It's agriculture, from the farms to our tables, various tables to feed over 200 million Nigerians on a daily basis, with some having 3 meals a day. We're looking at this group of spectacular people who work relentlessly day in, day out, from January all through to December, to ensure that Nigerians are fed, and even sometimes to provide food for export. Francis again brings us more information with our background feature. Stay.
Agriculture is the backbone of Nigeria's economy, a sector that not only feeds a teeming population, but also weaves a rich history of traditions, culture, and livelihood.
In the evolution of man being, it is after I've eaten, then you think of where to sleep. So you can see how agriculture has played a vital role in the survival of human, not talk of Nigeria as a country. So the essence of agriculture in all forms is for the living. Food security is existential threat to any community, any state, any country in the world. The first refinery we built, if you talk of Warri, Port Harcourt, and Kaduna, all these are built from agriculture. If you talk of the North at that time, how did they build their foremost university? If you talk of the West, how did they build their foremost university? The same thing at the East. All it is from agriculture produce.
Reducing poverty through agriculture is a multifaceted effort that requires collaboration between governments, non-governmental organizations, and the private sector. When well implemented, it can lead to increased income, improved livelihood, and overall poverty reduction in rural areas where agriculture is the primary source of livelihood.
It will be interesting to know we have not been able to feed ourselves to a large extent, despite we have the arable land that's supposed to give us the potential to cultivate from food to table and other forms of value chain in agriculture. If you have this potential as land and you couldn't utilize it, it's a wasted effort.
While the involvement of young people in agriculture in Nigeria holds promise for better living conditions for families, the realization of this potential depends on addressing the challenges they face. Effective policies, investment in education and training, access to resources and markets are vital for harnessing the full impact of youth engagement in agriculture.
60% to 65% of our population are youth in Nigeria. If we are now looking at how do we direct them, is for us to go into agriculture value chain, because the value chain from farming, productions, financing, as well as processing, down to the finishing and marketing. Each of the stage will now create additional value. It is this additional value that you now say, okay, the large youth you have who will be able to take part in each stage of agricultural value chain, that will now create job opportunity, job security, and food security. They use drone for irrigation, for pest control, and for monitoring of weather conditions. If, for example, today I have harvested through the social media I'll be able to post the kind of fish that I have. If it's tilapia, if it's catfish, on the social media. This is where technology will also help in terms of marketing.
The journey from the farm to the table is not just about sustenance, it's a celebration of Nigerian life and traditions. Therefore, as Nigeria looks to the future, there is a growing focus on sustainable agricultural practices.
You have an arable land that will give you high optimal production, but because you don't have the ability to cultivate more, you don't have the ability to process more, we can say they are smiling 10%. How many commercial farmers do we have in Nigeria? How many processing plants of agricultural produce do we have in Nigeria? So the farmers today across board, they are not smiling enough.
As Nigeria continues to address its agricultural challenges and embrace its opportunities, it holds the promise of both sustenance and prosperity for its people. Therefore, Weekend Deal today is captioned Agriculture from Farm to Table.
Agriculture from farm to table, indeed. And we get to hear of the different techniques. Yesterday we talked about modern equipment, we talked about the value chain, we talked about soilless farming, we talked about mechanized farming. We introduced poultry briefly. Today we're going to talk about poultry quite a bit. Talk about fish farming as well. We'll dovetail to Asaba. From there we'll go to Maiduguri. We'll also spend some time in Ibadan where there's talk about organic farming and there's talk about genetically modified products. All of this on Weekend Deal today. But first up, let me tell you, we have a special guest who is with us today. And he's been doing quite a bit with cattle and livestock. He is Ilyasu Bulama. But before you get to meet him, let's see what it's all about.
Agriculture, being a wide spectrum, has so many diversification to it, from vegetation to poultry. Poultry farming in Nigeria is one of the largest growing, incurring huge dividends and creating massive job employment for so many of our populace. The question therefore is, what does it take to get a healthy poultry yield from the farm to the table?
An individual that intends to go into poultry farming needs to decide what part of the value chain they want to play. By that I mean there are different types of poultry farming. For example, there is a layer operation, for example, where the end game is to produce eggs for consumption. There is also the broiler farming, where the farmer intends to produce meat for consumption. You could also have an operation that is dual purposed, meaning that you are rearing birds that have the ability to produce both eggs, but also are able to put on sufficient weight for consumption. And finally, there is also the breeder operation, which is another aspect of poultry farming, in which case a farmer keeps breeder birds that produces some of the commercial birds that we have in the market. So basically the first thing is the farmer needs to identify what part of poultry or what part of the value chain they want to play.
Raising these birds take extra precaution. If one is not careful, losses may be incurred. Be that as it may, the healthy aspect of rearing these birds is important. The big question is, at what month can birds be eaten?
At 6 to 8 weeks, the broiler is typically good to be consumed. So a broiler would have attained what we call the table weight, or the ideal live weight for consumption. Is there any health implication? Absolutely no. Now, the difference between keeping a bird for long and short is just basically the texture of the meat. Of course, birds that are kept for a shorter period of time, broilers, for example, will have more tender meat than birds that are kept for much longer. Say for the layers, for example, that are kept for maybe a year and a half, 2 years, you will see that there is a difference in texture when you are consuming a layer meat or a broiler meat. But typically, there is no reasons to be concerned, from a health perspective.
For every entrepreneur, there are basic challenges and loopholes that is encountered, despite the profit-making aspect. For the poultry business, which raises the question, what are those deep-seated challenges that is faced in poultry farming?
Feed costs is another common challenge that we are beginning to experience in the industry today. So the cost of feed is really, really high. And sometimes farmers would start and then realize that the cost of feeding is so high, and then they are not able to meet up. Don't forget that feeding takes about 70% of the total investment. Birds, like humans, also get sick, okay, and it means that a lot needs to be put in place. They have to get the right vaccination at the right time, okay, and the vaccination has to be done by the right personnel as well, to ensure that the birds are healthy and that they are not falling sick.
There are various challenges faced by the poultry farmers in Nigeria, and there is need to create a more enabling, controlled and satisfactory atmosphere for this business to thrive.
You're watching Weekend Deal. NL Noble put that together for us. We get to now know, that even if you eat a bird when it's 6 weeks, there's no health challenge. You are still safe, okay? You eat broilers. Just make sure that they've been treated or housed in a hygienic way. We talked about our guest earlier. He is Alhaji Ilyasu Bulama. He's the National President, Association of Livestock Managers and Food Product Dealers of Nigeria. Great to have you on Weekend Deal, National President, Association of Livestock Managers and Food Product Dealers. Sometimes we switch the managers, then we move the dealers, but we know, it's all meant to show the sphere that your association covers. Welcome to Weekend Deal.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to meet you.
Interesting. How many years have you been working with livestock?
Yeah, I started with livestock since 1999. That was when I started going into livestock business, developing interest in livestock business, looking at it as a business, not as something you would do as if to say you are trying to survive, but I look at it as a business.
You went large scale.
Yes, that is where you go and make money if you want to make money.
Can you greet fellow Nigerians in Igbo? Can you welcome them to this discussion?
Yeah, I can. I can say, good morning, my brother. Good morning, my brothers. One Madu. kemaka olu, kemaka ahia, kemaka indibai.
Good one.
And so forth and so forth.
Now I know why you are a success.
Yes.
We'll continue that conversation because we want to know what it was like in Oka in those days, what happened in Jigawa when you took off, and then let's talk what's happening today. But for now, let's talk about organic farming and genetically modified products and the impact it can have on us. You need to be extremely vigilant about what you eat, and it starts from the planting process. Ibadan, take us through this.
Arable land is one of the blessings bestowed on mankind by God. When cultivated, it can produce food for consumption and also create wealth when proceeds from the farm are sold in commercial quantity. Nigeria as a country has a landmass of 923,770 square kilometers, despite being blessed with arable and lush green land suitable for farming. The nation lacks food security as it is still importing food into the country. One major way hunger can be banished from the nation is when all citizens embrace smallholder farming, either in form of garden in their compound or farming on farmland. How then can organic farming be embraced to give healthy farm-to-table produce?
In Nigeria today, that farmers, apart from the fact that they produce their products, they should be encouraged also to know how to add value. Talking about the agricultural value chain, in which we are talking about how we can take the products from the farm, even through processing, production, to how it gets to the table, or even for export.
Worthy of mention is the fact that organic farming has some advantages when compared with synthetic farming, and this has cost implications on farmers.
Organic agriculture is the best. Even outside public areas, environmentally, it is also environmentally friendly because it doesn't harm the environment. You are not collecting anything from outside to add to the soil that will degrade it, that will, at the end of the day, deplete it of resources that invariably will constitute pollutants.
Some people argue that organic farm produce has an edge over genetically modified organisms, GMO produce, and experts shed more light on this.
From the viewpoint of public health, synthetic foods or genetically modified foods, they have quite a number of disadvantages, and everything has to do with the way they were processed or they are still being processed. Let me start listing there. Allergic reactions. Most of them, because there is modification, there is a change, genetic engineering, and once that one happens, it introduces a new set of protein into the body, and once that happens, the body has a tendency to treat the new molecules as foreign bodies, and it's not impossible that what we're having now, the increasing rate of antibiotic resistance, may not be unconnected to this consumption of genetically engineered food products. Cancer is also another potential health risk that they pose. Everything revolves around this genetic engineering. The moment you tamper with gene, of course you are tampering with gene of the food product, but then when it gets into the human system, it does something too.
Observers are of the opinion that if all citizens embrace organic farming, it will not only eliminate food insecurity, but equally promote sound health among citizens. Similarly, produce from organic farming, when exported, will add to the gross domestic product, GDP, thereby enriching the nation.
Yes, it's interesting to see that at the end of the day, the GDP can be improved, especially when the farmers the agribusiness owners, the agripreneurs are tenacious. And oftentimes they are, just like we have with Alhaji Ilyasu Bulama, the national president of this huge association, livestock managers and food product dealers of Nigeria. So this is even your field, this is your sphere. You know, you understand what is happening, and we're getting to learn that eating organic, you know, is really the best way to go.
Yes. You know, if you look at organic this thing, the animal food, we call it manure. You can get it from animal urea, both poultry, sheep and goats, cows. That one, if you plant in your farm, you are 100% sure of what you are going to raise is a good and safe for your consumption.
Very good.
Because there is no chemical. All is correct. From what you produce with that manure, after you have used the one you want to use, the remnant of the things is for your animal feed. Whatever you plant, there are of two things. One is what you will use as a human being, then the other side of it will be for your animal.
Indeed.
So the same manure you get from them, give them what they will eat, and that one will also be as good in their health system as the way it will be good in your system.
Let's also look at one of your passions. You know, you've been relentless in ensuring that some negative practice are discontinued in Nigeria. There's talk of carbide, you know, something used to artificially ripen some of our fruits and all of that. You know, where are we now with that push?
What we are trying to encourage our members and the entire population is that it's good we practice a good practice of farming, ensuring that we didn't rush to make things happen so that you take it to market no matter how. No, we have to wait, let it reach the stage where it is good for refit before you take it.
Some Nigerians are facing harm because they want to make quick profit.
Yes.
But are you looking for ways for them to sustain? Because obviously it's in a bid to sustain themselves. Though it's a negative practice, perhaps they are facing some challenges. I know in the course of our gist, you will tell us perhaps other measures being put in place to ensure that they do not resort to this negative practice. Let's go to jobs, where we get to meet a very tenacious lady who does small-scale farming in her compound and feeds her family from that.
Agriculture is not only about growing food, it is about growing the right kinds of food in the right way to support the nutrition and health of communities by fostering a strong connection between agriculture and nutrition, thereby promoting healthier diets and reduce malnutrition.
Farm to table is growing the basic things that you eat, not being so much dependent on going out to go and buy. So like the vegetables, the herbs, spices that you use, so you're taking it right from your own farm and right to your own table.
Experts advocate the need to cultivate a home garden to grow fruits and vegetables to aid in promoting healthy eating within a family and reduce family spending on bulk buying of food.
I grew up on the farm, so we get most of the food we eat from our own farm. So I'm not sure of the quality of what I buy in the market, so I prefer to grow what I eat.
Harvesting strategies can shape a family's food consumption in numerous ways. These strategies not only impact what they eat, but also influence the quality, nutrition, and sustainability of their diet. By actively participating in this aspect of agriculture, a family can create a food system that aligns with their values and provides them with fresh, healthy, and locally sourced meals.
Lettuce We are cooking rice for dinner. So I'm getting some for my dinner today. So lettuce for dinner. They come in different colors, and you know, even the different colors have their advantages. Colored vegetables.
Earthwise, catfish, tilapia, fish farming is very healthy and is very more commercial, and it can return back economic in Nigeria.
For preservation, proper storage enables the family to consume their homegrown produce year-round, reducing reliance on store-bought alternatives, as well as preserved fruits retain their nutritional value, ensuring that the family maintains a healthy diet even during off-season.
If you want to actually stay healthy, you need to eat healthy, simply because of the fact that by the time you get to 40, you don't need to be eating red meat or anyhow food. We pick those ones that we can sell that has a good returns, such as washing them, cleaning them, allowing them in the fridge for a return to the market. Perhaps you want to get it in a smoke end or in the powder form, depending on individual tastes. You might want it spices, you might not want it more anyhow spices, depending on individual tastes.
Remember that healthy eating is not just about individual choices, but also about creating a family culture that values and supports nutritious food. It is a journey that involves continuous learning, adaptation, and most importantly, doing it together as a family, ensuring that each meal is balanced and provides the necessary nutrients.
Always great to visit Jos. Fantastic place with very enterprising people, and the vegetables, they're often fresh. So I was just talking with Alhaji Ilyasu, and I said that some of us don't have green fingers. Alhaji Ilyasu continued from there, and he said what grows in the north can also grow in the south, and we can plant in our neighborhood.
Yeah, we have a good soil in Nigeria. The problem we have is we don't put things into practice. We believe that maybe palm oil will not grow in north. Maybe cassava will not do well in north, which is not. If you take all those products to north, they will still grow. Whatever you grow in north, if you take it to east or west, you still do it and it will do. Nigeria, we have a land whereby whatever we want to plant, we can plant it and get it. If you look at dates, for instance, Debino. If you go to Niger, they harvest Debino once a year. If you go to other Arab countries, they do once in a year. But if you come to Jigawa in Nigeria, it is twice in a year.
Because we have good soil.
The good soil.
If you are patient and focused, you will yield fruit from your passion.
All of that, you will get to know about it. That is why in Association of Livestock, we are doing our best to educate people. Wasting your data in useless things, chatting for useless things that will not help you. Use your data, learn more about what will help you, that will help your children, that will educate them on farming, instead of them to be looking at something, chatting with friends, nonsense chatting that will not have anything.
It's even good now, you know, we have many we have royalty, we have rich norms and culture in Nigeria. Perhaps we could start this, we could continue this also with agriculture. Like you now, having vested interest in so many areas of agriculture, you should be handing over to your children, your nieces and nephews. You can make it a family culture. Is that happening?
Yes, that's what
you know, in time past, that was the case.
You see, my children now, I used to show them things. I used to encourage them about farming.
Are they learning?
They are.
Not just wasting their data on YouTube.
No, they are learning.
Fully involved.
100%.
Interesting. Nice one.
100%.
So that once in a while you can take a break and unwind. But we're going to Maiduguri now. There's a lot of talk about cattle, their maintenance, how they feed, animal husbandry, and the like. Meduguri, we welcome you to the platform.
Hundreds of thousands of small-scale producers and pastoralists depend on livestock for their livelihood. Cattle rearing / animal husbandry is one of the livestock business which offer substantial opportunities for agricultural development, poverty reduction, food security gains, and improved human nutrition.
You start on a very small scale, 1, 2, or 3 animals. You fatten them and then you sell to get what you want. You don't buy animals before buying feed. Buy enough feed and then you start. In livestock business, you have food for yourself, you have manure from your farm, and then you get some money to take care of your family.
You can start it from 40,000, 50,000, 60,000, and then to 70,000 and down. We are using like a 4, 6 types, 7 types safe. After that, we are using grass safe. If the cattle is well.
To venture into cattle / animal husbandry business requires interest and knowledge to succeed.
Someone should have a land that will grow pasture for livestock, so that animals should not be moving around. You get enough pasture and then you feed your animals indoors. In advanced places, in fact, a hectare of land, you can keep up to close to 1,000 animals. While here, 100 animals need 100 hectares to feed in a year. So land will be a problem to us because the farmers need the land, and the cattle rearers also need the land. So what should be done is that land should be created somewhere where you grow the pasture and then you feed the animals indoors. Let the government do something to protect cattle rearers. The problems we have is marketing. Animal of 350,000. You spend 150,000. That's how much? That's how 500,000, isn't it? If you take it to the market now, they may price it at 450, between 450 and then 500, which means the farmer did not get anything.
Climate change play a vital role in livestock farming by reducing the environmental footprint of livestock supply, food chain, and assessing the impact of project and investment on greenhouse gas emission. However, in Borno State, cattle rearing system is not feasible. Rather, the concentration is only on animal husbandry and cattle fattening due to the insecurity situation.
You have to go a long way in search of greener pasture for your animals. And this system has been there for long, but now it is not really feasible. There should be a way of getting big lands, farms where cattle rearers can have a place to stay, not moving around.
Cattle fattening, milk production is one of the new methods you can venture into in cattle farming.
Interesting. You know, the natural sound of the cattle really brought that package to life. It made me feel as though I was right there with them, listening firsthand, not just in Abuja, and they were quite a distance away. And it takes me back to how we started our conversation when you told us of your journey in this cattle rearing business in Oka, how you learned a bit of the language, you were an agent, you know.
It is very interesting. When I was in Oka, what interests me in a cow is a mobile banking.
Mobile banking?
It's a mobile banking.
Your ATM is in it?
If you get cow, you get money.
You don't say.
There is no how you take your cow and you want to get money, you will not get the money. That is the only thing that you can use and get. If you get property before you see money, it's not easy. If you want to sell your car before you see money, it's not easy. It's not like that in cow. If you bring out your cow now you want to get money, in less than 1 hour you get your money. A farmer needs a land, a cattle also need a land. It is done already. Government have that thing on ground. There are places government call grazing reserve. It's meant for grazing. There are also land that are meant for farming. So there are cattle routes where they will drink water and what have you. So all these things, if taken into care and managed very well, there will not be a conflict.
We bring
because
an amicable
no one that is not important. Farming is very, very important for human life. Likewise, the cattle or the livestock business is also important. And you cannot have your livestock without where they can graze.
Indeed.
You cannot have them to be feeding them or trying to go and get the grass somewhere else or importing. It is not going to be possible. So having the land, allowing the grazing reserve to be used by the livestock owners, that is the best solution for the conflict between herder and farmers that is been saying in all the medias and what have you. You can only achieve that by saying, okay, now no farmer will go into grazing reserve. And now no herder will go into farmland. So if we have this one, I think 90% of the issues we have between herders and farmers is solved.
Will be sorted. Thank you, National President of Livestock Managers and Product Dealers. A break beckons now. Our conversation continues. I know your messages are coming in. When we come back and taste of Nigeria's rich culture, we'll come to your messages. So just keep sending them in. It's great to have you with us on Weekend Deal today. It's Weekend Deal, agriculture from farms, managed by tenacious and hardworking and unrelenting people to our tables is the topic and our focus since yesterday up till today. But for now, let's make a detour. We'll go to Ondo State, where we get to see Orikadu. You're curious? Then stay and watch.
In the heart of Igbarauke, as the first light of a new calendar year breaks, the community gathers at a sacred place known as Okitiomolore in Oduoja. Their purpose? To seek the royal blessing of His Royal Majesty, Oba Dr. Francis Adefara Komiagbede III, OFR, the Olowa of Igbarauke. This is the Orikado Festival, a celebration of life itself, a declaration that I survived the year. Orikado is not a fetish festival. It is a festival that transcends religion and ethnicity, drawing people from all walks of life.
Morning is a good time for prayer. So when I pray for people, I pray for everybody, I pray for the town, I pray for those who are here and those in diaspora.
As the day unfolds, a profound unity of purpose can be observed. Businesses, markets and shops close, their doors locked, and keys tucked away, all to ensure that every resident can gather at the Olowa's Palace after the morning prayers. It is a gathering like no other. The Oloris from the three ruling houses, the Omowaz, the venerable chiefs and their groups, Otu, the Bales from the 16 satellite towns and their villagers, and the 43 Oloriomos with their people, all converge to pay homage to the Olowa the paramount ruler of Igbaroke Kingdom. This is a moment not just for homage, but for reflection. Orikadu in Igbaroke is a time to look back on past achievements and to set ambitious goals for the year ahead. This year's event takes a unique turn as the Igbaroke Youth Council seizes the opportunity to empower the younger generation.
The people of Igbaroke have proved that they understand their culture and they hold it in very high esteem. And I can see from the turnout that they're very proud to be a part of this community and a part of this celebration.
As we celebrate Orikadu, we eagerly anticipate the promise of another year, another Orikadu festival, where the people of Igbaroke come together in unity, hope and gratitude.
I have planned to help the need, particularly the widow and the children, the orphan, and people that they need help in Igbaroke.
During the Orikadu period, we always have meetings upon meeting to discuss the progress of the town and all the achievements we have got within the year. So it has brought us together as a family.
This is the Orikadu Festival, where existence is celebrated, unity is embraced, and the spirit of Igbaroke shines brightly.
Also made a detour to go to Ondo State, and we interest you to know that in Ondo State they grow rice, yams, corn, cassava, for manioc and other things that enrich our tables as well. Our national president is still here, and we're just talking about livestock that goes to the market. Sometimes they're not in the best of health, but people procure them. Why is that? The farmers sometimes want to sell unhealthy animals that they rear because they want to maybe move them out from their cattle ranch or farm. Instead of them to treat them before taking them to market, they will now take them unhealthy to market. And the funny thing is, when it reaches market, the butcher that want to buy and sell meat to human beings to consume, he will prefer to buy that unhealthy animal because it will be cheaper for him. If he buy it, instead of him to treat it, let it be healthy before slaughtering, he will slaughter it and also sell the unhealthy meat to human being. Consuming the unhealthy meat is very, very bad to human beings. For health.
And it affects your health. Also, it affects the growth of your mentally and physical development.
So we can make others not do such things again. We are going to Oka now, where we learn about Mr. Charles Obiajulu, who is a small-scale farmer, talks about growth, development, and a few challenges every now and again.
This is Ogidi, a town in Idemili North local government area of Anambra State. In this community, agriculture still remains the people's means of generating income as well as provides food for families. The common farming here is multi-cultivational, where different crops are all planted together. Mr. Christian Obiajulu Onochie is a small-scale farmer whose choice of crop is corn. His interest, as he disclosed to NTA, is driven by how fast corn sells, its many uses, and value chain.
I've done the first harvesting, I've done the second harvesting of maize, the third harvesting of maize, fourth and the fifth section of it. So presently now, my pepper has started yielding fruits. The main challenges we normally face now is finance, inadequate finance. If we have enough finance, we can maximize our production.
Corn is indeed one of the fastest selling farm produce presently in the market. Corn's value chain is countless. Flour is the byproduct of corn, and corn is also used in the making of pap as well as animal feeds. However, the cost of buying a bag of corn is increasing on daily basis. For a poultry farmer, the most important aspect is the provision of adequate housing and management of the birds. The birds need balanced diet to encourage optimal growth and productivity.
Currently, we are operating on 50,000 capacity, 10,000 broiler and 40,000 layers.
The boss was like he should build a feed mill. He now build it, and that is why you can see this our feed. It's very, very rich, because if the feed is not that good, there's nothing, no magic we can perform in the poultry section. Now the feed is good, but the problem is that we are not seeing profit this period we have because of the cost of maize and cost of other raw materials.
Chicken is a favorite meat for average Nigerian homes and popular during ceremonies. Just like the crop, poultry farming is increasingly expensive.
Before I made up to two baskets or 3 baskets, but today now, because of the cost of the hardship, both feed and everything on a high cost, that brought us from the fuel problem in Nigeria. So it makes us to go down. Every day we are going down.
A lot of youths are not involved in agriculture. So if you go to the villages, you find out that these youths are in the cities, and like agriculture is relegated to the old people in the villages. In recent times, a lot of young people are now engaging in agriculture.
Small-scale farmers are important in the nation's food security plan. Therefore, farmers say they are hopeful that with more government intervention in form of loans and grants, more farmers will be able to sustain and expand their businesses.
Money has been given out in large quantities in times past, from what we hear and from what some people have attested to. Do you like fish? Do you eat fish?
Yeah, I do.
Do you know how to prepare it in delicious ways? You,
yeah.
Alhaji Bulama, can you prepare fish? I know Madam is the one that does it for you.
She does.
Okay, but let's go to Asaba now. Let's talk about fish farming. Tell us more.
Fish farming has become a vital component of global efforts to meet the increasing demand for protein to balance our diet. Fish farming involves the controlled cultivation of fish species in various aquatic environments like rivers, sea, oceans, and lots more. But when the demand for fish increases, hence ponds, tanks, and offshore cages come to being. It has experienced substantial growth in recent decades, becoming a significant contributor to the world's seafood production. In Delta State, some people have transitioned into fish farming as a sustainable alternative for livelihood.
They rent pond, they clear the pond. After clearing the pond, they stock the fish.
Breed majorly to a group of catfish. All of them, they are catfish. We have the normal Claras Esterobrancus. We have the one of Esterostis. We also have the one of Gamipinius. I think put together, I can actually tell you we have 3 categories here. The little of the Esterostis, we have it. Then major, all the one we are seeing generally, they are all Claras, Gamipinius, and Heterobrancus.
In recent times, the business of fish farming has engaged a number of enthusiastic investors.
The business has been good, But knowing fully well what is happening in our economy today, it is not profiting as it used to be.
While the business of fish farming can be lucrative, it is not without environmental consequences. Some common issues associated with fish farming includes climate change and pollution.
Most of the components made on fish meal are very, very scarce and expensive.
The most experience I've had in this place, one when we borrowed money from the CBN, we got the money, we invested the money in this place, and flood came and wiped everything.
The increase of the fish feed has increased, and most especially this our environment is no longer favorable because the river with which we connect our water from has been disrupted by a heavy flow of erosion coming from the town, and our canal has been blocked, and the water has overflowed what we call the river bank dike that have made everywhere just the way you see it. It has rendered so many farmers unavailable to able to continue their business.
People coming in to steal, to vandalize the properties.
Sustainability is crucial in the future of fish farming, and there is need to put in place sustainable practices that will inspire many to delve into the business.
What we can do is look for waste like fish meals, like fish crumbs, blend them and make your own feed. The alternative, that is non-conventional feed materials like insects, black soldier fly, raising the larva for fish, using maggots. These are alternative methods of getting non-conventional feeds to be able to support the protein need of the fish feed.
Good management practices, and most importantly, one should ensure the development of sustainable practices that will benefit both the industry and the environment. We talk about fish. People are already dreaming of pepper soup, catfish. Well, don't just leave it at the dreaming stage. Get involved in the business. Alhaji, your final words. We have talked about a lot of things, but I know you have advice for your association and indeed for Nigerians.
My advice to association is that our members should make sure whatever they produce and they want to sell, it has to meet the standard of health consumption, for human consumption. The Yoruba, Igbo, the TV and other language will go into livestock and make it. It's because they didn't understand it and they don't want to understand. That's why they thought it is only planning and business.
Only for Fulani people.
So you can do it anywhere, and I pray for a peaceful coexistence between farmers and herders. A herder is not that all herders are Fulanis. Go to Filato, you see people who are not Fulanis owning cows. In some places in Anambra, Eastern Nigeria, you see Igbo men with cattle.
Indeed, want to thank you, Alhaji Ilyasu Bulama, National President, Association of Livestock Managers and Food Product Dealers of Nigeria. It's been a pleasure. Although you do want to unwind with me, eventually you just moved a little. Thank you. Thank you for coming on board to enlighten Nigerians. Thank you for all those who contributed, to the success of this program. To the production crew, you are amazing. And indeed, God bless our great country, Nigeria. Thank you for being part of our show. From all of us here, bye-bye.